Hello viewers, today we're going to be cleaning and servicing a Galaxy 4733 Box VN. This is a bit newer than the one I showed a couple days ago. This one is from 2009 or 2010, and this one is rated for only 0.8 amps, whereas the other one was 1.1 amps. So we can see the deterioration in the power of the motors. And the blade is much more shallow pitch too. This has the fuse plug, so this is post recall. And I got this one out of the trash. It works just fine. I suspect it was discarded simply because it got dirty, and people can't seem to spend a half an hour to fix something anymore. So whatever. Now I get a nice free fan. I'll run it up here just so you can see how it operates. Not moving much of any air. That's what happens when they get so dusty like this. It's moving air, but not very much. Runs fine on all 3 speeds. Just very limited airflow. And these aren't the most powerful things to begin with, but the extreme amounts of dust on there is definitely going to be doing it in. And here we go again with the motor. Bearings are perfectly fine. It's got plenty of life left in it, just needs to be cleaned. Alright, let's get into this thing and get it cleaned up. We'll open up the motor and service that too, even though I don't think it really needs it. Might as well do it anyways. So we'll start by opening up the guard with these 6 screws around the outside. Okay. I'm going to wash it with water, but even just a good blast of compressed air through the thing would alleviate a lot of this dust. And that is really pretty thick on there. That's why it's not moving a whole lot of air. The blade, in theory, should just pull off. Sometimes they're a little bit finicky. This one is going to be. There it goes. You just got to make sure you pull it from the, from the hub, not from the blades. It's actually cracked. It's been like that since I got it. Not enough to affect the performance or anything, so I'm not going to worry about that. But this is coated in dust, of course, and look at that. It's not going to cut through the air correctly like that at all. Okay, now let's get the rear guard off. Same 4 or 6 screws like it is on the front. This did take a pretty good fall at some point. The guard is all busted up here, and this is all chipped out and missing. But hey, it still runs and moves air, so why get rid of it? Works just fine. Alright, so now we're going to remove the switch. The knob itself on the top just pulls off. And the handle, we'll take the handle off too. It's got little tabs under here. You pull them out and push up. This is kind of a delicate process. These are known to break. In fact, that was kind of the reason why I grabbed the fan, because even if the fan was busted, I could use these handles. Kind of expected to be scrapping this thing out, but if it works, you know, we'll use it till it breaks. Switch turns to come out. Turn it clockwise. Kind of push these tabs inwards a little bit and then turn it, and it releases, and it's kind of just held in with some sticky icky glue on these struts there. Okay, now we'll release the motor. Dust all over the screws. Okay, that now will go upstairs into the bathtub. The motor we'll take out of the plastic. And we have on the back of this, give me that screw. On the back of this we have the capacitor over here, which will take that off as well. And so then we're left with the motor itself, which is starting to clog up. See, what fails on these units is the dust will block the vents, kind of like it's starting to right there, and then the air don't get through here, and then the motor just overheats. That's why these fail. You know, you blast the compressed air in there every season will keep it going for decades. Alright, so I'll take all this stuff upstairs, so walk to the bathtub, and then we'll be back on the video and we'll service the motor. All the plastic pieces in the cage has been cleaned up. Didn't clean up super well. The guards in some places have a little bit of staining on them. Based off of where this fan came from, I would suspect that it's some kind of smoke. Who knows what kind. It doesn't look bad, but a good soaking in condenser cleaner this summer would probably take the rest of it off. Alright, so let's take a look at the motor now. Move this camera over. And the first thing we're going to do is remove the 4 screws around the outside. Well, actually, before that, let's check and see how clean the shaft is. If the shaft is rusted at all, we'll have to sand it down. But it looks like it's clean. Yeah, there's no need to sand it at all. Okay. Okay, now with the screws removed, we'll be able to open this motor up. If that starts to hit resistance at all, you got to stop and clean it. But it's not hitting any resistance, so we're good. Very dusty. That's all clogged up in there on that side. See that? Not good. Okay. And look at all the dust that's forming up inside there. Not good. We got to get that cleaned out. So, I'm going to remove this. Ah, shoot. Not good. Well, this just turned into a lengthy, very lengthy situation. Looks like, okay, no problem. Well, it is a problem, but I can fix it. What happened is, because this was running hot, because of all the dust in there, the tie wraps deteriorated with time and broke, and so the winding connections and the thermal fuse all just fell apart inside of here and caused a freak show. So now this is going to be fun. Fortunately, it looks like none of the windings broke, so at least that's okay. Let's try to get some of this dust off of there. It's sticky and caked on like the rest of the fan is. Never a dull moment, as they say, or always a sharp moment, as I say. Alright, so now what we have to do is we have to just kind of patch all this back together. So we know that it's supposed to sit on here like this. It sits like that, and then this. Does it all go over there in one place? It seems like an awful lot of wires in one spot. Oh man, I wish that didn't happen. know, something told me to just blast the compressed air and not even take it apart. Pretty sure it was all just on there like that. It's an awful lot of wiring in one area, but if that's the way that it was, then that's the way that it'll go back. Just hope that this doesn't, you know, some of this looks like it's a little bit deteriorated. So I think the potential exists that this could short out when I put it back together, which would be a shame, but may happen, I don't know. Alright, so I think it just goes on there like that. Grab a couple of tie wraps here and tie wrap it back down. Looks like there was 2 wraps, one here. It's not grabbing all the wires. Why is it not grabbing all the wires? Why is the camera moving by itself? Whatever. It came out again, but I'm tired of fighting with it. It'll just stay out. So much flipping dust in here. Alright, so that's back together now. Hopefully it's back together safely. I'm not 100% certain that this is going to be okay. Because of that uncertainty, I think I'm going to plug it back up just for a quick test, because there is absolutely no point in continuing to service this motor if the stator is not going to work. Check and make sure the rotation is correct. I don't think I reversed it, but I didn't see that coming, so I'm a little bit distracted. Where is this supposed to come out? Just right there, I guess. Okay. This is not fitting properly at all. I really hope we don't get flames. I think we may though. Well, all we can do is check. Better open the window up in case it explodes. I'm ready to turn this fan on and everything. Okay. The fan is ready. Switch it to on. And I'll just put it on the floor for safety. You know, because we're real big on safety around here. Let's see what transpires. It may run okay. May work perfectly fine. Let's see. Okay, that winding is fine. Okay, so it's fine. There was a reasonable chance either way, as far as that was concerned. Alright, so let's take it back apart. And what's supposed to happen is everything stays attached. So we take that off, then we take this off, or we take this out first, and then we take this out, and it's supposed to just come out like this, and everything stays connected. You know, but sometimes stuff doesn't cooperate. Alright, so now that we got this going here, we'll clean the dust out of here. Get the dust out of here. That's ridiculous. Get the dust all out of here. And this dust, like everywhere else, is that annoying kind of sticky tar-like dust, and it's not coming off very nicely. I'm going to have to clean this brush afterwards. Yeah, this motor was definitely heating up for a while. I'm not surprised. Can't let it get to where it got. It's not good. Alright, so the stator is now pretty clean. I wonder if I should put a third tie wrap on there just to really secure it down a little bit better. Yeah, I think I'm going to put a third tie wrap on there, right here. Okay. Now it's time to put some oil in. I'm going to use Zooming Spout oil, but you could also use the 3-in-1 in the blue can, which is specifically for fans. We're going to put oil into the oil wicks. If you look inside the shaft, or the bearing, you're in between the bearing and the housing, there's a kind of like a cloth material in there, and that holds oil. So we're going to put some oil around inside here, maybe 5 or so drops of oil just all around the outside, and then that material will release it into the bearing as it starts to dry out. Put a couple of drops of oil right in the back there. And this is actually still wet with lubrication, so that's good. They really do put an adequate amount of oil into these fans, which is surprising because a lot of fans don't come with enough oil. It's not really necessary in this case, but I'm going to just wipe the shaft off, make sure there's no dust or anything on it before I put it back in. Now there should not be a lot of difficulty getting this back in. There will be right now because of the thing broke. Got to be very careful not to let the windings scrape against the side of the housing, because if you scrape the insulation off of the windings, then you really got an issue. I think I'm going to leave a notation with this fan to never take apart this motor again because of the way this is. It's a tight fit in there, but it's in. Also a big piece of dust in there too. Alright. That's in place. It's not really happy, but it's there. I'm going to put a drop of oil on the shaft here so that it slides into place better. Okay, and then I'll put some oil on the shaft here, just a little bit. I like to put it all around there so when you slide the blade on, it comes off easier next time. Dropped a little bit of oil in there, it's not a big deal, but why have it in there if you don't have to? Okay, I'll slip this back on. And now, this has to go a certain way. The motor goes like that, I think. Where's the mounting bracket? The bracket sits on the thing like this, so that's correct. So with the wire coming out, the two screws are here like that. That's how it goes. I don't like how that's being pinched in there, but it's gonna have to do. I don't know, these aren't bad motors. If you keep them clean, they last a really long time. This one was not kept clean. Wasn't cleaned for a decade. Okay, now it may be kind of stiff. This time it happens to not be, but sometimes it's a little bit stiff when you first put it back together. A couple of whacks with a screwdriver will get it back into good alignment, and it'll be ready to go again. Alright, that's good enough. I'm going to give it another quick test run, to make sure that it's not having a problem, because the wiring situation in there is definitely a bit flaky. No beating around the bush there, but that's the way it's going to be. Alright, seems happy enough. Okay. So now we're pretty much done with everything that's time consuming, and we're ready to begin reassembling. Hopefully everything goes well from here out, because it's tired and I'm getting late. So we need to reconnect this to here. How does this go? Like this? Yeah, I think it goes like that. Does it go like that? Yeah, because that goes there. Well, the 4 screws got to go in from this side. This particular capacitor is a 4 microfarads capacitor. This is just saying, I'm ready to spill. Not today, oil. Not today. Okay, so we know that the fan wire is going to come out like that. So to switch, you have to stick it in like this, and we'll turn it to set it in place like that. And we'll screw the motor back on. Why is there so much slack on the cord? Wonder if the switch is aligned correctly. It may not be. Let's see if the numbers match. 0, 1, 2, 3. Not the numbers match. Well, maybe I screwed something up when I was putting this back together, because the wire certainly had that much slack before, but it doesn't really matter. Just stick it up there at the top. Oh, you know what? I got the switch on wrong. It's got to be rotationed. That's the problem. The switch. This is probably supposed to go under the switch like that, and the switch would sit like that. That's the problem. There we go. That makes more sense now. That's a much more reasonable amount of slack. Okay. That's how it's supposed to go. These screws, you can't put them very tight at all. They'll just strip out because it's only going into like sheet metal. Oh goof, I put this on backwards. goes like this. It's got the thing for the legs at the bottom. It's almost 8:30. It's definitely better to do this during the day. You make less mistakes when you're not tired. This isn't closing. Okay. The handle, you kind of push it down and out a little bit, kind of like that, very, very carefully to get it in. These do tend to break. This is an extremely delicate process. I had to stop cleaning up here because the paint was coming off. This stuff needs to be sanded down and refinished. Maybe in 10 years from now, if it's still running, I'll give it a fresh coat of paint. That ain't worth the time right now. Blade was super difficult to clean up. There's all that sticky tar-like stuff on there. So there's a flat portion of the shaft on the motor. There's a flat portion of the shaft there, and there's a flat section of this there. Those two meet. Okay. Looks like that's running good and free. Front guard. Okay. Here we go. Pretty much good as new. Sans the Motor Freak Show and the crack in the blade, which don't seem to be affecting the performance. I suppose I should probably glue it, but another time. I glue myself this stinking blade. The right things are going tonight. Let's give it one last check and make sure that the power draw is reasonable. Because if something's going haywire with the windings, we'll be able to get a quick idea here on the meter. So this should pull about 0.9 amps at full power. Let's see what we get. So it's pretty good. Notice it's falling over now. It's how much more air it's moving. It wasn't moving hardly any air before. Now it won't even stay up. Medium and the low. Moves more air on low now than it did on high before. Most likely this will run for years and years to come, even with the broken blade and the Windings Freak Show.